Hello, namaste, assalamu alaikum, welcome to Cricbuzz, and today I have John Cena with me to discuss IPL 2020. I'm kidding. It's Nick for Cricket from Americans. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining me. We're going to discuss IPL. We're going to discuss certain bits and bobs. We're not going to go into too much detail because that's going to take hours and hours, and I know people usually don't watch my videos for that long. So what we're going to do is going to break stuff down. We're going to talk about the important bits. Before we get into it, though, Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Ozjad. Always a pleasure, Ozjad, to come onto your channel and hang out. You got the San Diego Padres shirt, so I absolutely love that. And I got the victory beads right now. The victory beads, they're not the good luck beads. They can only be worn after the victory. But I got the victory beads on, and I'm excited to talk about the IPL 22. Yeah, IPL 22 with you.
Fantastic. No, it's all good. I've been calling IPL 2020 rather than 2022. So it's all good. I've been making that mistake for a while. So, okay, let's start off with the surprise factor. So I just want to ask you, this entire season, what's been the biggest surprise for you? Let's start off with that.
So there's been quite a few surprises, right? But for me, the biggest has got to be the Gujarat Titans, or as a friend of mine says, Gutaraj Titans. And it's so funny because we have so many viewers who are like, that's it. It's Gutaraj from now on. And we changed the name of the city. But the Titans by far have been the biggest surprise. Neither Gabe nor I felt too great about their auction, felt too great about them coming in. And we thought LSG was a more dominant team. Not so much. The Titans, they have really taken the bull by the horns. I think it was the third or fourth win when I kind of jumped on that bandwagon and I made my comparison to 2008 Royals, which is looking pretty good right now, by the way, that prediction. But little self-kudos there. But it's not just the bowling. They got 3 in the top 10 as far as run scores. They have 2 in the top 8 as far as wicket taken. And I'm not sure how much taking wickets and bowling average correlates. But the interesting thing is those 2 in the top 8, we're talking about Khan and Mohammad Shami, they're like 26 and number 30 in average. So I'm not sure how that translates or how that does this or that. I just don't feel like their team is like a juggernaut. It is strong enough from the pieces they put out there. They threw Saha in there about 3 or 4 matches ago, and this guy is he's in the top 5 with boundaries in 3 or 4 matches. And I took him on my team finally last game, and he went out for a duck. Of course he did. But I mean, they have Matthew Wade, I'm a huge Matthew Wade fan, always a fan of him, supporter of him. He's done nothing this IPL. And they're still able to get it through. David Miller has been a huge revelation for them. He's in the top 10 in a lot of different categories. This team just continues to find a way to win. Tawadia hasn't done much of his finishing recently, but they haven't needed him to. I mean, they get the guys to show up when they need them to show up. It's been absolutely fantastic to watch. And for me, every week I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. It never does. They're in the finals.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you mentioned Tawadia there. I thought Tawadia was a one-season wonder, okay? The last season he had a couple of good games, and I was like, this season we're going to find out he's not that good. And then 2 or 3 matches in a row, he finished it off, and I was like, okay, he's great. He's just fantastic. And then you talked about David Miller. He showed up. He showed up in the qualifier, didn't he? It was outstanding. And his partnership with Hardik Pandya, because it wasn't a low total. I remember you and Gabe talking, they're going to get at least 180, and they got like 188 or something. And they chased that down quite easily with Hardik Pandya on one end, and you had David Miller absolutely smashing it all over the place. And,
yep.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned about, the average. So I just want to explain. So the bowling average is usually calculated based on the number of runs per wicket. So, yeah. So bowling average, so 26 runs. If you give away 26 runs, you're going to get 1 wicket. That's the correlation in that. For someone like Rashid Khan, as you said. So I think Gujarat Titans is a big surprise. For me, the biggest surprise is Chennai Super Kings coming in 9th. I think that is the biggest surprise for me. Even though Mumbai, like everyone says, Mumbai Indians is looking for next season, Chennai Super Kings were absolutely atrocious. Okay? And I don't know, Gabe didn't even release the video where I was an optimistic CSK fan because he realized.
I'll tell you later why, but keep going. There's a reason why.
Okay, I thought it was because there is no way that this video makes sense anymore because CSK lost. Right? CSK lost to, I don't know, who was it? They lost to a team like horribly. And I thought, I had them pegged for winning all of these and then everyone else winning the other matches in a certain order. And unfortunately, that didn't work. And congratulations to you and RCB getting through. They're basically number 3 right now, right? They're 3rd place.
Semifinals, baby. Semifinals, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got that versus RR tomorrow, but we'll discuss that shortly. In terms of RCB, what has been your, number one, what's been your best moment for RCB, but also, do you think they can win this season?
Oh, that's such a trap question right there. All right, so my favorite moment for RCB, I mean, first of all, it was yesterday's match when they won that match. Patadar won 12 off 54. I mean, if anyone had him as their captain on fantasy, then you are the smartest man alive or woman alive. That was such an amazing thing. I wasn't able to watch the match because it was our last full day with students at school before the summer break, but I was able to follow along on the live and just see ball by ball. And I just several times they're going to lose this. They're going to lose this. Coley's out for 25, Foff, Golden Duck, all this kind of stuff. Maxwell only got 9, and he was just there. Old Faithful, old reliable Patadar. It was a fantastic moment. If you're going to say, well, that's the playoffs, what about the season? There's a lot of great moments in the season. I mean, Hasaranga, I think, got like a 5 at one point. Maxwell came back after having to get in the bubble for a little bit and was taking wickets. Not Hazelwood. But I think the coolest moment was Coley's catch, right? He was kind of there in the inner circle, and he just jumps up and gets it with his fingertips. That was a great catch. That was a cool Coley catch. But, I mean, this season I had no faith. I had no faith this season. I didn't think they were going to get to the playoffs after their auction. I thought it was a debacle. They proved me wrong. And the interesting thing is Foff, right? Great player. Love the guy. I think he's one of the nicest guys in the entire world. He seems that way, at least. Guy can score runs, but he hasn't contributed too much to the wins for RCB. He really hasn't. You can't really say, see, this is what a captain should do. Now, I think the fielding placement's been sound and the bowling choice, all that kind of stuff, but he hasn't contributed as much as we want him to, but they're still on to the next round. Do I think they can win it all? I would love for them to win it all, but no, I don't. That win kind of healed a lot of old wounds, RCB IPL history. It really did. Made me feel a little better. But as RCB fans, we are always waiting for that shoe to drop. And it's dangling, my friends. It's dangling. And I predict they're going to win their next match, and then they'll lose in the finals because I'm that kind of optimistic person.
Do you know what? I'm going to go a step further. I think RCB is going to win this. I think RCB is going to.
Mind.
If RCB, genuinely, I don't know if I'll be available on Sunday, but if you guys stream in some sort of way, I will be losing my mind at the same time if I see you react the way. Let's say
it's got to be on a Sunday, the day I cannot stream. I don't know why it's always got to be on a Sunday. Oh my god!
Do you know what you could do? You could let's say, for the sake of argument, RCB wins. You release a full-on reaction straight after, and just absolutely blowing your mind because of that video. Yeah, because the thing is, RCB definitely has a chance. This is probably since 2016. This to me has been their best chance. People might say, oh, what was it, last year or the year before where they were quite close?
I would say 2020 they had a really
2020,
really good squad.
Yeah. But this time, the squad they have, it's very well suited to the venues they were playing at, and the inclusion of someone like Windu Hasaranga, and the way he's been bowling has been absolutely brilliant. Losing Yuzvendra Chahal to go
fielding as well.
Yeah, fielding, his batting as well, but in terms of his bowling, I think his bowling's been the shining light for me. He was in the top 3 wicket takers. I don't know if he still is, but last time I checked, he's number 2. There we go. Right, and the player they lost, Yuzvendra Chahal, they thought, oh, we lost the spinner. We don't know who we're going to replace it with. It basically got a like for like in a way because Hasaranga's been bowling really well. I want to ask you something, and this is what I actually prefaced to you initially when I messaged about your top 3 moments. But if I had to ask you about slightly separating that out, so we can talk about your top 3 batting moments. See what I did there? And top 3 bowling moments in this particular IPL season. What would those be?
Oh, you would do that to me, wouldn't you? So I had some honorable mentions just in case you threw a curveball. Okay. Let me see if I have 3 for each. So I'm gonna combine. Can I combine bowling and fielding together?
Yeah. Sure.
Because there's a few. I already mentioned the Coley catch. There's a few bowling/fielding excellent moments. Bairstow's run-out catch was run-out throw was absolutely amazing. This guy is at the boundary. He's 3 steps from the boundary. He runs in, gets the ball. He throws it. No help, no assistance, 1 bounce, click, and he got the run-out. It was absolutely amazing. Knocked those bails off. I haven't seen anything like it. That was so cool to watch. Ryudu's catch for CSK earlier this season where he's diving there just meters away from the stumps, 1 hand falling down as he grabs it. That was unbelievable. No, everyone's talking about the Evan Lewis catch. That was a fantastic catch as well. But my favorite catch this season was that Ryuta catch. That was absolutely top notch. You have the emergence of the future England, Australia, Pakistan, New Zealand killer in Umran Malik and his fifer, where he stamped his place into the lore of cricket and saying, listen, I'm 21 years old. I'm a humble guy, and I'm going to take your throat from you. I absolutely cannot wait to see what he can do. I know I probably just jinxed and ruined his career. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, you said Hasarang, we've been talking a lot about him. Shahal, his season this year. You got two spinners, number 1 and 2, and they're both playing each other tomorrow. It's going to be interesting who takes the purple cap from each other because one team's not moving on. But you have two spinners leading the league in wickets. But Shahal, several performances. He has a 5 for himself. I think he has 2 4-fers. I mean, this guy has been – and he has like 4 matches where he's taken no wickets. That's how dominant this guy has been in certain matches. I think that's a lot for the bowling side. For the batting, which I am very pro batting. All right, I already mentioned the padded R's 112. You know, Josh Butler in the first 5 or 6 games, maybe the first 7 games this season, was an absolute animal. I think he had what? Did he have 3 centuries? Yeah, 3 centuries this year, all like in the first 7 or 8 games. This guy, I mean, he was like a fantasy god for those first 8 games. And I loved having him on my team. He stayed on my team all year after like the first game that he played in. He was fantastic. Tawadia and DK saving their teams respectively.
Wow. As
finishers. Both of them won about 3 games each for their squads with their finishing ability. Now, DK had great partnerships with Shabadas Ahmed earlier on the season. Tawadia, he had a great partnership with Rashid Khan. That was really nice to see. But it didn't matter who was there. He could have put Nick up there, and he's like, I got this. I mean, there was probably literally Ozjod 7 matches where he batted, and he did not bowl the ball. Yeah. He didn't even – I mean, this guy isn't he like a bowler first as far as all out? Not anymore. This guy's a batter. This guy's a finisher. It was great to see that. But I think my ultimate moment, and it killed me because it was against my losers of the year, Wooden Spoon, garbage, still love you. And it was against Daniel Sams, who I had a personal vendetta against. But since it has been taken away, it's been evaporated. It's gone. That's when Pat Cummins got his 50 off 18 to tie the record. I think it was KL Rahul. 14. Sorry, Patty Cummins. I shortchanged you 4 balls right there. 50. I mean, it was 6. It was 6. Oh, yeah, don't forget. It was 6. A few 4s sprinkled in there. It was unbelievable. They chased my Mumbai Indians like in the 16th over, crushed my heart, created hatred in my brain. But those are just a few of my favorite moments.
I love them all because I think I've seen all of those. But if you said something else, I'd be like, I don't know what he's talking about. But I'm glad it's the ones that I know.
You saw the Pont drama with the no ball, no call. That was fun too.
There's a lot of fun moments this season, though. That's the thing, because all of it was this is the first season you've seen that's all been played in India, right? Because otherwise it was stopped, and the entirety was played in India, and you've seen the type of scores they've gotten, the type of performances by individual players. You mentioned something about Johnny Bairstow. Can you imagine he's a wicketkeeper? Right? That's the brilliance of the athlete that is Johnny Bairstow, right?
Yes,
crazy, absolute madness.
Take those gloves off him, and he's unbelievable. Absolutely.
As soon as he takes him on, he starts dropping catches here, there, and everywhere. There we go.
The interesting thing is he might be the first player ever in a domestic league to hit the bails with the ball from an amazing throw and hit the bails with his own bat. I'm just saying.
Wow. The shade. Like, it doesn't matter if it's you, if it's Gabe, if it's anything related to CFA, there's going to be a Bairstow flyover or drive-by, whatever you want to call it. So I like it.
We love you.
Right. Okay. So last question of the day for now. Okay. The final is Gujarat Titans versus one of Rajasthan Royals in RCB. And you already told me, in your opinion, RCB is going to win tomorrow and lose on Sunday. Okay. Yeah. Who would be the player of the series, of this entire season, if you had to pick one?
Postseason combined?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, the obvious choice would be like a Hardik Pandya. I think he's number 4 in the MVP voting, but I've had him on my fantasy squad. I know I keep mentioning fantasy, but it helps you keep track of player performances.
Yeah. Of course.
There was a 5-game stretch where he just didn't do anything. And I think he was injured again. We saw him bowling again in the playoff match, the qualifier match. And that was great to see. But he's disappeared for a long stretch, and they had a big enough lead, but they still could have used their captain. So I would like to say him, but I just can't. The thing is, RCB doesn't have one guy outside of Hasaranga, and maybe B would be a Hazelwood. They don't have one guy who's dominated all year. Even DK had a few bad spells, about 5 or 6, just like Hardik Pandya. But he was absolutely fantastic for the role he was given. Rajasthan, I mean, Butler, right? Butler, the first 8 games, but then he had about a 6-game stretch where he couldn't do anything. So has there been anyone that's been dominant? Even Shahal had a 4 or 5-game stretch. Honestly, if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose someone from these 4 teams that made it to the playoffs. If I have to choose one, oh man, this is so tough. I think, it would be a tie for 2, and I hate doing that. It's going to be a push. You have Shahal in one hand. This guy, I'm so happy for him because even I was calling him expensive, not able to get the big wicket. He's been amazing this season, right? Yeah. Everyone said, like, we all realize, I mean, it's kind of like where Kohli's at right now. Like, is he ever going to get back to where he was? And this is a domestic league. This is the IPL. I get it. But he's been amazing, and he's already signed or, booked his ticket for international play for the future at least. But I think I might have to give it to Hardik Pandya because he's been captain, he's been bowler, he's been batter. He's in the top 5, I believe, in runs scored. He's got like 11 wickets. Is that maybe only 5? I don't know. He's got a lot of stuff going on. But he's also captained his team. Brand new franchise. He's the captain. He's coming off injury. He's got, a bunch of guys that have never all played together, even half of them played together before. And he's gotten to a dominant position where they're in the finals. Even if they lose that final against either Rajasthan or RCB, he's had an amazing captainship. And that's what KKR was missing. That's what SRH was missing this year, having a captain that can also be productive. But, man, it's really, really tough. I would love to say Andre Russell because he's been really dominant too. Unfortunately, the team around him was kind of weak. But is that his fault? I don't know. Maybe he's in there too. I can't give you just one answer.
That's fine. You gave me enough to kind of get the conversation going in the comment section below, which will be really fun as well. So thank you very much, Nick. Really appreciate that. Rather than going into, so much detail about the entire tournament, right? I asked you the last question. Just want to end things on how have you found this season?
This season for me has been fun to watch. There's been more boring games and more boring, I guess, moments or stretches than in seasons past. But I don't know if it's the product on the field. I still haven't, after 3 seasons, I have not seen, RCB play in front of their fans in their stadium. CSK play in front of their fans at their stadium. And maybe I have, 'cause I know there's been a few venues, but you know what I mean, where each team is playing in front of their home fans. We got the 10 venues there in India. I haven't seen that yet. But I think one of the reasons why it's been kind of down a little bit, even though I've really, really enjoyed it, is the audience seems to not be as interested for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's cricket overload. Maybe it's, we had the IPL finish in the fall last year, and now we started the spring. I don't know what it is, but the excitement around the fans have not been the same, at least in our small little community at Cricket for Americans, Cricket for Us 2.0, Dibbly Dobbly, all that kind of stuff. It hasn't been as high, and that definitely makes it different. But all in all, I've still really, really enjoyed it. I am one of the few that have liked the addition of the 2 new teams. I feel like it's made teams have to stretch out their abilities, stretch out their players, give guys. And I know Padar's played in the past, but a guy like Padar get a chance to get in the limelight and whatnot. So I'm not going to blame it on the new teams. And those two of those teams went to the playoffs. So, I mean.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe you have to kick out CSK and MI and then stick with the 18. I'm kidding. No, I can't say that.
They're so bad.
They are terrible, though. That's the thing. They both got 8 points. Like 8 points out of 14 matches is just disappointing. But anyways, everyone, thank you, Nick. As always, really appreciate the time. Everyone watching, please do like, share, and subscribe. Do go over to Cricket for Americans and Boring Reviews and The Final Reaction. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Just leave a comment and say, hey, Nick, what's up? Just for fun. Really like it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you. And until next time.